2021 Ways and Means meeting. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
the
the
United
States of America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
States,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty
and justice.
and justice for all.
Okay. I'm sure everyone knows this, but this meeting is being held in full accordance with the Governor of Massachusetts March 12, 2020 order to suspend certain provisions of the open meeting law, chapter 30A, section 20. There is a meeting link for those who are watching on BCAT who would like to join. It's on the town website, or you can join by phone. The number is 408-418-9388. Access code is 179-853-9460. Thanks. Roger, how would you like to order the agenda tonight?
I'm fine with doing it in any order that suits you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Eric.
May I make a suggestion? Because Dr. Brad Jackson of Shawsheen, because this is his first time meeting with the Burlington Ways and Means Committee, we are so fortunate to have Dr. Jackson here in our area, back in our area, and in charge of Shawsheen Tech. He brings 75 years of experience in public education for us to all take advantage of. And every time he speaks and opens his mouth, I learn something. So, Mr. Riggs, it's out of this deference that I think Mr. Jackson should go first.
I was going to suggest the same. Thank you.
Okay.
I will go with that. Mr. Jackson, welcome to Burlington, at least virtually.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate it, and thank you, Dr. Conti. I will try to leave some money on the table after I'm done so you can have some scraps.
He's going to need more than scraps.
Yeah, I've known Eric for many years. I'm going to turn this over to Melanie Hagman, our Assistant Superintendent, in just a moment. I did want to just say thank you for the warm welcome I've received from the members of the 5 communities, including Burlington, that Shawsheen serves. I'd also like to introduce Kent Moffett, who is one of Burlington's 2 representatives on the Shawsheen Tech School Committee, who joins us here tonight. Kent, thank you for coming. And Christine Kim, who was just elected on Saturday as our 2nd representative, may be joining us later. And with that, with your permission, Mr. Chair, I'd just turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Melanie Hagman for her remarks. And I don't know if you folks are expecting a presentation or how this usually goes, but I'll leave that in her capable hands so I don't mess it up.
Sounds good. Melanie, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I know that my presentation was sent over. Do you want to use that, or do you want to attempt me to share my screen?
I can probably do that.
I can do it too, Steve, if you want.
Yeah, I'll share the screen with you.
All right.
It'll just take me a second. There you go.
All right. So dive right in, Melanie, and I'll get this up in front of everybody in just a minute.
Okay, thank you, Roger. So again, Melanie Hagman, you've all seen me before, most of you anyway. So thank you so much for having us here today. We're here to talk about the FY22 Shawsheen Tech budget. First slide. Oh, here we go. I'd like to brag a little bit about our cooperative placement. We currently have 52% of our seniors that are actually out on co-op out of 314. We have 160 employer partnerships. 75 of them are repeat partners. 112 of those employers are located within the Shawsheen Tech District. And the combined monthly wages that our students earn is a little over $131,000. And Shawsheen continues to be ranked in the top 2. And this is exciting because even with COVID and everything going on, we're still able to get our students out and working which is just, it's a great experience for them. It just brings reality, so when they go out after graduation into the workforce, that they're prepared. So it's so exciting for us that we're still able to get them out despite, the COVID situation that we're all currently dealing with. So
Hey, Steve, can I make one comment? The thing that Roger's showing is pretty small. Is there a way he can put that full screen mode or something?
He's got two monitors, it looks like, right?
Yeah,
Mm,
I just brought it up, Roger. I can make it fast pretty quickly.
okay, I mean, it's, where am I here? I can make it bigger too. It's in preview. It's a 2-page, it's a double page. Is that bigger, Mike?
There we go. It's a bit better.
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
have
that's
a
better.
very large
Better.
screen.
That's better.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, let's see if I can keep it maximized. Go ahead, Melanie.
Okay, and the picture that you're seeing there is actually on Shawsheen's facility. That's the field house that our students are building. Our carpentry students have been out there in the winter and everything, building this field house. And again, it's just an opportunity to have them participate in real work. And they take pride when they work around our facility, our campus, they take pride in their work, and it's exciting to see their excitement out there. So next one is the proposed capital budget highlights. So just to talk about a little bit of the details in there. So our programming and web, we're buying gaming computers. There's about $32,000 in there. Our design and visual, we're purchasing Apple computers for $40,000. We're replacing the retractable bleachers and painting our gym floor. It's about $102,000. And then we've got $220,000 in there for interactive display boards, switches, and servers, as we're all kind of getting used to this new technology. We're trying to make sure every room has consistency. So we do have teachers that move from one location to another. So by really investing in our infrastructure, the teachers will be able to move seamlessly, and the students won't, feel any differences either going through. So all of those brings us down to our total FY22 capital budget of about $1.2 million. Of that, 182 is coming between grants, revolving, and any budget excess if available, which brings us to our total assessment to our member towns of $1,035,114. And that number is consistent with what you've seen over the past few years, that we've committed to you, and we've committed to that number, and that's our total assessment. The next page, and over the years again, this is something that our students are out, they're building a patio outside our cafeteria. So the goal is eventually, when everything comes back to somewhat normal, I guess, that our students will actually be able to go outside and sit in this patio. We put in picnic tables, so to speak, so the students can go out there. Our masons built this beautiful patio, and this is our metal fabrication, our welding students putting the railing up with the beautiful ST. And again, it's exciting to see them working around the building. You know me, I like to show pictures so you can see how beautiful our facilities work and see how much we invest back in our students. Moving right along to our FY22 operating budget, our overview. The total budget is up $781,000. Of that $781,000, $546,000 is the direct relation to our teachers' contracted obligations. So that's right in our teachers' union. $35,000 is from Middlesex and our OPEB obligations. $305,000 is transportation. We are coming off of a 5-year transportation bid. So when we went out, it actually came in higher than that. And Dr. Jackson and I are working in ways to come up with the remainder of the money we will need in FY22. But that is a real number. Our contract cleaners is up $37,000. Again, another real number. Unfortunately, we're coming off of a 3-year contract. We went out to bid, and the increase we're going to see is $37,000. All of our other line items is up about a total of $82,000. If you do the math, it doesn't work. Our bond issue is down $225,000. We have paid off one of our pre-existing debt. So all of that said, again, our total budget is up $781,000. Our OPEB liability, just so you can kind of see it, FY22 will be our 6-year funding it. And again, we've committed with the state that we would do an increase of 5% each year. Our net asset value at June 30 was a little over $2.9 million. I have sent a full OPEB report to the town manager, so if you'd like to read a wonderful copy of the actuarial study, feel free to ask them for it, but we have shared it with all the town managers at this time. So moving on to the total proposed operating budget is $32,470,000. Our capital budget, as we talked about, is the $1,035,000 for our total FY22 budget of $33,505,515. It is up 2.39% from prior year. The next slide gives you a quick snapshot of the assessments. So Burlington is up. Oh, you know what? Now that I say that, I don't think I sent you the updated slide. I apologize on that, on the new number. So I did send you the assessment page. So we did get our free cash certified, and it was $1.6 million. And talking to Dr. Jackson and then going back to our school committee, we decided to commit $1 million to help offset the assessments for everyone. It is a one-time revenue source, as you know. So next year, when we start building the FY23 number, please keep in mind, everything will be kind of based on the original FY22 assessment number I gave you. So when you see the increase coming, because the $1 million is used to offset your assessment. Okay. So, oops.
Sorry, I just was looking for the final page, but let's pick up where we left off. Sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. One of the things that does take into effect that's causing some of the minimum contribution is enrollment. So our enrollment from our 5-member towns is actually decreasing. Every one of our towns for FY22 saw a decrease in enrollment, and Shawshing Tech saw an increase. So when those things happened, the state shifts more money to Shawshing Tech to support the shift in enrollment that we see. So if you can go to the next one. So that's by district. And the next one, we actually show the Shawshing Tech enrollment numbers. So the good news is Bedford is on the rise, as you can see. I've never seen Bedford so high in my 20+ years at Shawshing, so this is very exciting. Billerica, we do continue to see a little bit of a decline. We do believe that that will kind of stabilize, and our applications are consistent, so we think that will start coming up a little bit. As you all know, Burlington is continuing to go up as well, which is exciting for us. Tewksbury saw a little increase, and Wilmington is absolutely just taking off. Large increase there, and we are going to continue to see an increase in Wilmington. We have more and more applications coming over to Shawshing Tech from Wilmington. So it's good for us because we continue to be full, but the other side of it is we're almost too full at this point, right? We're getting maxed out in enrollment, but it is very exciting that there's still absolutely a need and a desire for our district to want to attend Shawshing Tech. So the next slide, I just kind of show some applications that come through, just so again, you can see where we're at, break it down by our regional agreement for our application policy, so you can see it and the actual applications that were submitted to us. At this point in time, we have started the acceptance. We have 31 confirmed freshmen coming in from Burlington, and we're waiting on 3 more. So those numbers continue to climb as well. Okay. The next slide is the actual assessment. And this would be the new one that I sent over to Roger recently.
This is not the correct slide, right?
No, so I didn't know if he was able to show. I saw it off to the side. I wasn't sure if there was a way he could bring it over.
Oh,
For those of you that have it, again, Burlington's going up 8 students. The FY22 minimum contribution that is set by the state
it there.
that we have no control over is the $1.9 million. The capital assessment is the 10%. So you get allocated the 103,000 for a total of minimum and capital of 2 million. The amount allocated by regional agreement is the rest of the figure, so the 5.7. And what we do is that is strictly allocated by enrollment. So that's just based on your per pupil. And then we have a total FY22 projected assessment for Burlington of the $2,593,069, which is an increase of, roughly $76,000. 3% isn't as bad, again, because we are using the $1 million to help offset some of the increase that some of our other communities had seen. Bedford, as you can see, is up 13%, which seems high, but their dollar figure, continues to be less than $1 million. So if you want to go to the next slide.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question on that last chart we saw?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. Can you go back? Yes. Yes, thank you. I'm a little confused. Is the difference category the difference between final total assessment and projected or not?
Which the FY21 and the FY22, the increase that you see there.
Okay.
One of them is last year's assessment.
I'm sorry, Roger, go ahead.
This column here is FY21, so that's last year's assessment.
Oh, okay.
And the difference is just right next to the current year's, next year's assessment.
Okay. Well, I'm just, I'm confused about the percentage change because I don't see where Billerica is down 0.9%. Where does that come from? Can I have the two numbers that reflect that, please?
So Billerica's FY21 is 9.8 and the FY22 is projected to be 9.7.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I do have one more question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, real quick, and we want to let Melanie finish her presentation.
All right. Well, I was a little confused on when you said some of the things that you were doing is painting the gym. And can I ask you what is the gym floor made out of?
Wood. So we're
All right,
going to be,
Go ahead,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, so we're going to be stripping it down to the wood and repainting it and then refinishing it. So right now, the last time we've done the gym floor, it's probably 15 years ago. So we just want to strip it down, repaint it so you can actually see our logo and see the gym floor again. We're going to make a few other minor adjustments in the gym. We're adding the bleachers. We figured if we're doing the gym floor, it's the time to add the bleachers because our bleachers are outdated. They're very difficult to move. And we need to make sure they're handicap accessible. So we figured if we're going to do the bleachers, it's time to do the floor, kind of do the whole project at once. We have some basketball hoops that will be done. That's part of the budget as well.
Now, when you say paint, are you saying paint or urethane?
When I say paint, I mean painting the purple ram, right? So we are going to have a Shawsheen Tech ram in the floor. So they're going to strip it down to wood, repaint our logo, paint the lines, and then polyurethane it after.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead,
You
Melanie.
answered the question. I was just concerned that if you paint a floor that's going to be used as a gym is going to get worn out and the paint will start peeling away quickly. But if it's urethane, it's fine. It'll last a little longer. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Mr. Chairman, that's all right.
Okay. I just added, as you know, we recently added a Chapter 74 engineering program. So I just wanted to show you a program that, a picture that we were able to add some of this great equipment in there. And the good news is the program absolutely maxed out. We just finished our freshman numbers and it is thriving down there. So I just wanted to share some of the excitement with some pictures. Again, a lot of this wouldn't be possible without the partnership that we have from our 5 towns. And, thank you for everything you've done for us. The next picture I want to show you is the Billerica Housing Authority. We built a shed for them. We'd love to help Burlington. Just reach out, let us know. Last year I highlighted Tewksbury. This year we've got Billerica. And again, it's giving real life experience to our students. So I wanted to show you that. And then finally, I have a wonderful picture of our girls hockey team. It's actually a co-op hockey team with the town of Bedford. So we have 8 Shawshene Tech girls and 8 Bedford girls on there, and it's absolutely wonderful and it's thriving. And I'm a little biased, so right, I love to see that kind of stuff. Again, great partnerships with our communities. And then we always talk about grants when we show you the capital budget, right? We always talk about we have other funding sources available. And one of them is our Carl D. Perkins grant. It's federal funds we receive, vocational schools. So I just kind of wanted to show you some great pictures, again, of equipment that you see as part of our budget, but again, we're able to fund it through other funding sources. And yes, creepy pictures of our dental program here that we're able to buy. Our students get real life experience. You know, we work very hard with our advisory committee to make sure that we're providing students with the tools they need to be successful upon graduation, whether they decide to go off to college or go into the workforce. And what better way than to provide them the state-of-the-art equipment to be successful? Again, we have, you know, health simulators in here. We've been able to buy different headsets for our esports program that we brag about all the time. On the next slide, you'll see that, you know, some mini split heat pumps that, again, you know, I don't understand all of this, but I know our students need it to be successful, and that's what's important, right? All these wonderful things that we can do. And the final picture kind of talks about, you know, just hydraulic benders, you know, that we're able to purchase for our electrical program. You know, believe it or not, we need to buy trailers all the time. As we go out to the different communities to help support you, we need a place to put the tools. We can't put them in the van with the kids, so we have to buy trailers in order to put all of their tools in there to be able to go out and support the community. And we bought a wonderful bandsaw. So that's it. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. Like I said, we are able to buy just wonderful equipment to keep our kids up to date. And it's all because of the partnership we have with you. So thank you.
Thanks, Melanie. Roger.
So, Steve, back to you, I guess.
I actually was asking you if you had a subcommittee report or.
Oh, yes, the subcommittee voted 500 in favor with unanimous consent.
Thanks. Dr. Jackson, did you want to add anything on top of that, or?
Never talk after a 5-0 recommendation.
Awesome. Good. Good advice. All right, can I open the floor to the committee for questions?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Phil. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
There's a second. Frank, you look like you're about to ask something. No?
Could I ask a question, if I may, to Melanie?
Sure.
You hear me? Okay, Melanie, 2 quick things. First of all, you said you had $1 million of free cash and you were going to put it towards offsetting the operating budget. Is that correct?
Yes, our free
And
cash
what
was
generated
0.6.
free cash? What?
Was certified at 1.6 million. So we made the commitment to offset with $1 million.
And is that free cash is that just accumulated over many years, or is it a recent event?
It's accumulated over many years. And the reason we committed to the $1 million, as you can imagine, with COVID and everything, we're anticipating receiving a little bit more in Chapter 78 than budgeted. So it will be replenished. You know, the goal, we're only allowed 5%. We cannot keep anything more than that. So our goal has always been to keep it at 5% in case of emergencies or something. You know, we've always joked about, we can't go back to you and ask for more money. So we'd like to keep a little bit in reserves.
All right. And relative to COVID, here there was a line item about cleaning. Was that for COVID?
No, that's we outsource our custodial. So we have 5 maintenance staff on board, but then we outsource our cleaners. So coming off of a 3-year bid, so we went out to bid and the increase is to $37,000. Do I think some of the increase is attributed to the extra cleaning from COVID? Yes. But again, it's,
Okay.
3 years old.
All right. Okay, thank you. So, did your classes all stay in full session, or did you have to do some remote stuff, or what?
Brad, I'll let you take that one.
We opened in mid-September. All of our shops were 100% in person, and all of our academic students moved between academic weeks and shop weeks. So in 1 week, all our students, grades 9 and 11 go to academics, and grades 10 and 12 go to shop. In the weeks when students were in shop, they were in person in our school, and starting in mid-September. And then we are shifting to 100% in person on May 3rd. So we have about 1,300 students in our high school total. So we have had about 750 students in our high school every day since we opened in September.
And did the pandemic, did it introduce excess operating costs, or were you able to deal with it all just within the budget you had?
Well, we like our communities, we are eligible for ESSER fund for funds from both DESE and that come through the feds for COVID relief. So we have been using for some of those extraordinary expenses, we have been using the federal money that's been coming through the state.
You did get the federal COVID money then. That's what I wanted to make
Yes,
sure of. Okay, thank you.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor and it's been seconded. So not seeing any further discussion, I'll take a vote. Cody?
Yes.
Doug?
Yeah.
Frank?
Yes.
Jaya?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And the chair votes aye. That's 12-0. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think I'll stick around and see if Eric can beat a 12-0 vote in 24 minutes.
Yeah, well, he's got 2 budgets up in front of him, so it's probably you probably need to allocate a little extra time.
Might as well leave now.
And Dr. Jackson, remember, we start educating kids at age 3, not at age 15. So we have a little further to go.
And our students do so well. Our students do so well at Shawsheen because of that work that the Burlington Public Schools does. No matter where they end up, whether they end up at Burlington High School or Shawsheen, Eric and I are good friends, as you can tell. And Shawsheen, Burlington has 2 great high schools. I assure you, I believe that.
No, from the students that I know that go to Shawsheen Tech, they love it, and some of them have been real life changers for them. So they really enjoy what they do there. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I will yield the floor and the rest of the free cash to Dr. Conti and his group. Thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you. Roger,
Good night.
See you, Brad.
I'll yield the floor to you.
All right, so the next budget up is the Burlington Schools operating budget in the amount of $57,137,111. The subcommittee, obviously, we've spent time with the school committee meetings and with the school committee representatives and Dr. Conti and Nicole Kasha to review it in detail, and the subcommittee voted 500 in favor. I think I'll leave it to Dr. Conti to explain the budget. I think he can do it better than I can, and it'll avoid a certain amount of duplication.
Sounds good. Welcome, Dr. Conti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there's not a whole lot to explain this year in that the guideline that we were working with was the 3.5%, which we basically kept all of our departments at we're level funded from last year. We have not added any new positions other than the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, which salary was built in for fiscal 22. I think in working with the Ways and Means Subcommittee, and I do want to thank them for their time. Again, I don't think there were any budgets that came in over the 3.5%. We did build back in as part of the guideline, which sometimes, when you look at the budget, you'll see a percentage increase that is higher. The reason for that is we built back in the $350,000 that was cut from the school budget in September. So the first thing we did with our guideline was to reinstate, again, the $350,000 that was reduced in September. And then we moved forward. We moved forward from there. Another important factor in the operating budget is we have 2 contracts that are outstanding. The negotiations are productive, and we are making progress. But you'll see in the budget document, there's a negotiated settlement line, and we are hoping to settle the contracts within that amount and under the guideline amount. So I'm assuming you've all received the budget and you've had the budget to review, because I believe, Nicole, it's been posted. Is that correct?
Yes, it's been on the website.
And I asked Whitney to put it on the Ways and Means website along with the other budgets.
And Roger did send out a link to all of us, so we do have it.
And the last thing I'd say is, while our enrollment from the Shawsheen presentation has dropped a little last year, a lot of that drop has been, we're expecting those students to return back into the district when we reopen in the fall. So again, our enrollment has been relatively steady. I think it's been increasing gradually, and we expect to make up the loss that we've had when schools are back open in person and continue to grow.
Anything else you want to add, or can I open the floor up to questions?
Mr. Chair, I will answer any questions that folks have.
Sounds good. Are there any questions from the floor? I'm not seeing any. So the chair will entertain a motion for $5,737,111.
So moved.
Thank you, Roger. Do I have a second? Is that John? Okay.
No, but I'll be a third.
All right. That sounds good. I didn't hear the second. All right, Cody.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Jaya.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Phil.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Roger.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
And chair votes aye. That's 12-0. Roger, accommodated.
Just one quick comment. Brad didn't hang around to see Eric finish his operating budget in under 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the floor did not have any questions. I was expecting more lively discussion.
Well, again, Mr. Chairman, not to, I will certainly make sure Dr. Jackson hears about that, but I think I think one of the reasons I would suggest is we've been asking lots of detailed questions for the last 2 months with the Ways and Means Subcommittee. We've gone through every line, and they've been extremely thorough, and we've really worked hard to bring our budget in at guidelines. So I don't want you to think we're taking this dollar amount lightly, or we don't feel that you all aren't being very generous. There was a tremendous amount of work by the subcommittee on every line of this budget.
I can concur because I know that Roger runs a tight ship at the school subcommittee and he does and the team do a really thorough job. So kudos to the school subcommittee.
Yeah, be careful about that because I think we were greatly aided by the sort of the inflexibility this year in the guideline and the situation. But
What can you ask?
moving on to the accommodated school budget, it's in the amount of $12,333,456. It is actually overall down a little bit this year due to I think 5 students aging out of the system. So it's a very unusual situation in that sense. I think other costs did go up in a few cases, but so don't treat the falling budget as anything that's going to continue in any way, shape, or form. Subcommittee voted 5-0-0 in favor, and I guess Dr. Conti, if there's anything else to say about the budget, it would be great to hear.
Again, just very briefly, for those who may be new to this, aging out, we're responsible for educating our children with disabilities, some of them through age 22, those who don't earn a high school diploma. So when we say age out, it means they turn 23. So that would be the aging out comment. Another critical part of the accommodated account is the circuit breaker funding that we get from the state. The state, I think by law, supposedly is supposed to provide us a 74% reimbursement. We don't budget at 74. We budget conservatively at, so this year we're budgeting at 65% because the state doesn't always fully fund the circuit breaker. So whenever we're talking about the accommodated account, the overall percentage is certainly important, but what we're budgeting circuit breaker at is just as important because we could budget circuit breaker at 70, less conservative, and bring in a lower percentage, or we could budget circuit breaker at 60 and come in at a higher percentage. So we're telling you we're budgeting circuit breaker at 65%. We may receive more than that. It depends on the state's financial status through the fiscal year. Nicole can explain circuit breaker in detail if you want to hear that. The state passed a Student Opportunity Act, new legislation last year, or it might have been 2 years ago. I've lost a year of my life. The Student Opportunity Act is part of the additional funding for certain school districts. They expanded the ability to use circuit breaker or have circuit breaker reimbursement for transportation for out-of-district students. So those of you who have been doing this for a while know that if we are educating a child outside of the district in a private placement, we are responsible for not only that tuition for that child with disabilities, but we're also responsible for the transportation to get the child back and forth to that placement. Transportation was not eligible for circuit breaker reimbursement, and in some cases, the transportation is as expensive as the tuition. The state moving forward is going to make transportation eligible for circuit breaker reimbursement on a graduated basis. So if funded, that's not up to us, that's up to the state. If funded, you're going to see a gradual increase of 25%, 50%, 75%, and eventually we'll be able to use circuit breaker funds, apply those funds to reimburse for out-of-district transportation. So again, there's lots of variables to the accommodated account. We build that account student by student. And as Mr. Riggs said, we happen to have fewer students in building the budget this year. That doesn't mean students won't move into town. That doesn't mean someone may need new services. That's why these costs are in the accommodated account, because they're highly volatile. But thank you very much.
Thanks. So I'll open the floor up for questions. Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion for $12,333,456.
So moved.
Thank you, Roger.
Second.
Thank you, John. Cody,
Yes.
Doug, Frank,
Yes.
Jaya,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and chair votes aye. That's 12-0.
Mr. Chairman?
Dr. Conti and then Frank.
Frank, I'll defer to Mr. Monaco. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay, I had just a point of information through the chair for Dr. Conti. On the transportation and the circuit breaker, I'm assuming the circuit breaker applies on a student by student basis. It's not an aggregated number, it's by person.
I believe that's the case.
Am I
Nicole, you
right?
know the answer to that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so on the transportation circuit breaker benefit, which is going to start to come in, is that also going to be on a person by person basis?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it's only going to help us in the cases where an individual's transportation is more costly rather than less, but it's still something. But none of this aggregates. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on that. Thank you.
Thanks. Dr. Conti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just two other quick things. We will be receiving federal relief directly into the district. I think they're calling it ESSER 3 because we've received ESSER 1 and ESSER 2. These funds are related to COVID as the town is getting some relief money as well. The dollars are meant to be spent over the next 2 or 3 fiscal years, and they're meant to be spent on recovery. We haven't gotten a firm dollar amount, and we haven't gotten the rules for spending that yet. When we do get the amount and the funding, we're going to put together a multi-year plan for the school committee. I don't believe this funding will go through or require town meeting approval, but we'll make sure that we keep the school subcommittee in the loop, and we present this as part of sort of our overall spending. We don't want to cliff build, so we don't want to develop programming with all this money and then 3 years from now have it all go away. So we want to put together a smart plan, but we do have students who have some needs after the last 15 months that we've had. So we'll be looking at that. So we may be adding new positions. I just want to be fully transparent. We may be adding new positions focused on educational recovery using the federal relief dollars. And so again, we'll work with Mr. Riggs like we were doing a budget of another source to do that. And then the last thing I wanted to leave Ways and Means with is very positive news. Is the Massachusetts School Building Authority Board this morning voted to support the Fox Hill project moving into their feasibility stage. So for those of you who are around for the Memorial School, this is basically the first step in a very scripted 6 or 7 year process towards moving to build a new Fox Hill elementary school. So obviously there'll be financial aspects of that. Not exactly sure where they're going to hit, but they may. The project officially starts June 1st, so we may need to have a financial article for September or January's town meeting. We'll obviously come back to Ways and Means to explain the funding that we need for feasibility, and we are talking with Paul and John about the long-term debt service and where an elementary school would fit in, and they're aware of this. And I think we've been talking about this for a couple of years. So again, positive news, but I think there will be certainly some more in-depth conversations with Ways and Means regarding the building project moving forward.
That's awesome news, Eric.
Yeah, it's great news.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Again, and so with that, we're done for tonight, Mr. Chairman.
I think so. It's
Actually, before we let them go, there's revolving accounts that at least I had a question on.
oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, I'd like to say the reason I didn't have any questions on the budgets is the monthly financial updates that Ms. Kasha provides are great, and really having that level of transparency throughout the year helps eliminate questions going into the next year. So that was great. There's just two questions I had on the revolving accounts. One was the recurring theme of the school lunch. It's currently about $250,000 in the hole, and I know that there's always lagging reimbursements and other reasons for that. But my question was, what's the expected end of year balance that you think that will be at, and what's the plan to bring that to zero then?
Nicole, again, not to give you the hard questions, but I think you have the best answer for this.
I think I answered this like 3 times today already, but
Right.
thanks, Nicole.
And it's on the last night's recording too.
Oh, I'm sorry I missed that meeting.
No, no worries. I'm sure Nicole will give us the answer again.
Yeah, of course. So the reason for a lot of the deficit is additional labor costs and material costs to the packaging and all of that this year with the changes that we've had to implement in serving lunch. So because some of those are connected to COVID, we're able to offset a large chunk of that from COVID relief funds. I don't have, I guess, an ending balance that I can tell you yet, because it all depends, on participation and how many meals we're serving and all of that through the end of the year. So I can't give you an estimated balance because there's too many moving factors through the end of the year. But we do have COVID relief funds that we'll be able to offset.
Okay, and is the assumption that the remainder would come from something like school choice or something, or one of your other funds, as opposed to needing money from the town? Is that a fair
Yeah,
assumption?
just like we've done in the past.
Okay, that's what I was assuming. Great. Sorry, last night was the first meeting I missed in a while. The other question was just where'd it go? Francis Wyman after school program is down about $340K. So just wanted to understand what's going on there.
Nicole, do you want me to answer that one?
So it's not in the hole. It's just that the expenses were 340K more than the revenue.
Dr. Conti or Nicole?
You can explain, Eric, or if you want me to, doesn't matter.
Nicole, this was the payroll change, right?
No, so I think that we had last year we had offered some credits back to parents to use this year because the program didn't run last year, and then because they were still unable to attend for this year, we had to issue those reimbursements that we were anticipating just being credits towards this year.
Okay, so the expectation is that in general, this program would break even. It's just an extraordinary event due to that. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Again, Mr. Chair, we'll stay and answer any. I do want to thank the Ways and Means Subcommittee. They've been at every meeting. They've been asking a tremendous amount of details and spending a whole lot of time. And I also, like you, want to recognize Nicole's efforts. I think she has everything organized to a point that a lot of the questions people have are easily answered. And as Mr. Eiler said, I think the transparency is really helpful in moving us forward. So Nicole, thank you. Budget season's is a challenging time, and this year has been um, extra challenging. So there's a lot of people putting in extra work, and Nicole does all that in the background. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Here.
Okay.
So to the chair, does that cover the agenda item that we had for revolving accounts?
That one was originally intended for the revolving accounts review from the town side, which John sent us that information, but he won't be here tonight to answer questions, so we will put it again on the agenda for the next meeting for the town revolving accounts.
Thanks.
But I'm happy to get the revolving accounts on the school side done as well. All right, thank you. Roger, what's up next?
So we have 3 of the regional school assessments. We talked about, actually, there's only 2 more. We already did work through the Shawsheen School. We also have, Burlington also has students at Essex North. And Yaya was very helpful in calling up and digging through getting information about the expected costs for at Essex. It's going to be up. Actually, it's up 19% this year because their costs are up and I think the enrollment is up. So the new number is 123,324, covering 6 students. There are some caveats about if the students that are coming in need extra services, there may be extra support needed. And the subcommittee voted 5-0 in favor.
And you said that number was 123,324?
Yes.
Thanks. Any questions from the committee? My understanding that this is essentially a per student charge, and that the rate is the same per student. It's just a matter of the number of students that we're sending. And I think this year I thought I saw the number 6.
Right.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Phil.
Second?
Thanks, Roger. Cody?
Yes.
Doug? Doug, yes.
Yes.
Frank? Jaya?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
And chair votes aye. That's 12-0. And then the final one, Roger.
So with Minuteman, I realized we probably didn't do enough homework. The number here is a simple 2.5% increase over last year's. I didn't dig hard enough to find the enrollment. But as with Essex, these are sort of pay as you go. We send students, we pay the money. So the number is estimated number is 116,694. And the subcommittee voted 5-0.
And this is essentially for programs that aren't available. It's the only reason they could elect to go to either Minutemen or Essex. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. I think we should probably just go ahead and vote on this if that's the case, unless somebody feels that they need more information. But I think
Mr. Chair.
Can we get the number of students?
Yes.
the number of students. When will we know that, Roger?
Give me another week. I'll have to. Sorry, I didn't dig hard enough here. I don't have a contact.
Okay, I can postpone this and put this on the night that we do the school warrant articles.
That'd be fine.
Mr. Riggs, I can get you a contact and I can help with that.
Great. Thanks, Eric.
Okay, so we'll move this to the next meeting. The only other agenda item on tonight's meeting was the minutes. There's been a little bit of an issue with the recording secretary. I'm currently working with Joanne to see if another recording secretary can step in and help us out. But in the meantime, so there'll be no minutes tonight to approve. But what I want to do is just share the remainder of the schedule. We essentially have 3 weeks between now and town meeting. We typically take a break for the week of school vacation, and this year we're on track, so next week we won't meet. But then we have 3 budget items that we need to go through, and then after that, which is the principal debt and principal interest, and plus the negotiated settlement. And then we also have, and so those are the operating budgets. And then on my screen here is the remainder of the warrant articles and schedule. David's not here tonight to talk about whether he wants to meet the Town Hall 1 on 4/28 or 5/5. But the majority of the public safety, the public works, Town Hall 2, will meet with those warrant articles next on 4/28, so 2 weeks from tonight. And then the remainder, schools and whether Town Hall 1 or Town Hall 2 wants to present the principal debt or interest and negotiated settlements on those same nights. It'll either be on 5/5 or 4/28. And that, I think, pretty much concludes the Ways and Means agenda prior to town meeting. Am I missing anything that anybody can think
Mr.
of?
Chairman, are all of these warrant articles going forward? We won't have that yet?
Yes, they are currently, right now, all moving forward. I have not heard that any have been pulled at this point. I think there may be, like Article 2 may not have any transfers, but Town Hall 1 will find that out, but I haven't heard of anything. I will have a meeting later this week with Paul and John, so I will see if anything's been pulled at this point. But as far as I know, everything is going forward right now.
And at this point, do you have a total of what that amounts to?
I could give you a quick total.
Yep, that's, I can wait.
Yeah, I don't have a complete total yet.
Thank you.
But I do know that warrant articles are about 2.7 million at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
We're a little,
It is
Quick question. Are
reduced from
the
normal.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Frank.
sorry, yeah, go ahead, Frank, and then John.
For Phil's benefit anyway, I know the amount was pulled back and everybody's tried to stay inside that reduced guideline. I believe schools is doing that. And on the town side, I'd be surprised if we didn't. So that number that Steve threw out is probably what it's really going to be. The 3.7, I think you said, Steve?
Yeah, 2.7, I said. It usually,
7, right.
yeah, it usually comes in about 3 million, so it doesn't seem as much lower as I thought it might be. But the numbers are lower.
Yeah, I see 2.7 on the capital budget, so. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's really throwing it off is the BHS turf field and replacement. I mean, that's the biggest ticket item at almost 725,000.
Yeah.
But it was a delay from last year, and the field is in poor shape, so that's why they're trying to get that.
I hope Roger will be inspecting that field.
He's going to run the 1,600 meter and find out.
Yes, it is considered a safety issue, so that's why they're moving forward.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Dan and Tom wants to ask one after that, so go ahead, Doug.
Well, just in preparation for hearing these warrant articles, and Roger, this will, you can prep. Last year we talked about the turf field, and then COVID hit and we shut everything down. And when that was presented, and I can't believe it, I can't remember if it was Sean Hart or I don't think so. I think it was somebody else. Anyway, they were working off the assumption that that was supposed to be a 10-year field, and we were in year 8 or 9, and that there were some safety issues, and that someday there would be some difficulty with measuring the how much bouncy springiness there was and so forth, and they were going to look into that and get back to us. So I'm hoping that this time we have some kind of something to base it on other than it's getting old, because I believe this year would be maybe year 10, but we also just went a year without using it. So I thought it was questionable last year about whether it was going to be approved, just because they didn't really have a lot of detailed information, except it's almost time that it should be replaced. So I would just like to have some details about the safety of it. I don't want to just accept that it's a safety issue on its face.
Right, good. I'll press on whether they've had it tested and what the testing showed.
Mr. Chairman, I'll have a point there. I hope that the expert that's determining that there's safety issues there is not also going to be a company that's bidding for its replacement. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, the other thing that they mentioned is that, it could be safe now, but like if they test it mid-year and it fails, then all school sports are out. But
All due respect, that's a little bit of that seems a little drastic. I don't believe that would actually happen. And I was a little offended last year when he used that, and then he said he could get some information. So this year I'd like the information.
no, of course, yes, definitely agree with you there.
So I just want to wait.
Go ahead, Roger.
Quick comment. The 2.7 million for warrant articles seems about normal. Even in this year, I'm not too surprised at that, given that the size of free cash that we have available. But that's a different discussion we'll have later. Or it plays with the use of free cash, so.
Yep. Any other questions?
No, just one comment, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to Roger and his committee on a really nice job in the schools.
Here.
Thank you. I wish I could take more credit other than just being there. But I appreciate everybody on the subcommittee coming and asking questions.
You can take
90% of success is showing up.
Yeah. And I apologize this evening. My camera was busted until I logged out and logged back in again. So sorry if I was just a box with a fake picture.
And actually, I'd like to thank all the department or the subcommittees, because they've all done a really outstanding job in terms of getting all their budgets reviewed and getting us through this shortened budget season on time. So I appreciate that. All right, I will send this schedule out, and I will get minutes out when I get minutes, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks, as long as I get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, Roger. Is there a second?
Second.
I regret to inform you this is a non-debatable motion. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
You need closing music now, Steve.